Enable Makeathon has provided this ecosystem where experts and people with disabilities and great leaders can come up and put their thoughts also to their ideas, creating more meaning in the solutions. So I think this is phenomenal platform if they can come up with a minimum viable prototype quickly and get a quick course correction in their thinking.
All the programs are bespoke. When somebody comes in, for example, if they want to make a new kind of motorized wheelchair, we have exactly the program specific to them. So we invite mentors who are specific to the project that they have.
EM2, a significant difference is that everyone has come in with a solution, but on day one they have been willing to revisit those assumptions which were based on a very small subset of information by actually talking to the end user, the potential end customer and the actual target group, and like redefining their problem.
Now the process that we're going to follow today, we have 5 judges. They come in with various backgrounds covering design, technology, business, and of course the domain side of things. But they will account for 60% of the overall score.
So Team Autobots, are you ready? Yeah, let's get started.
In case of visual impairment, even if a woman crosses the hurdle of using a dropper and figuring out how the test palette works, the very fact that the result is a visual output makes it impossible for a woman with visual impairment to finally know whether she's pregnant or not.
If it is available,
Yeah.
which can be used by a visually challenged,
Yeah.
it would be most useful for us.
Okay.
We can easily use it.
The gap between a person, a deaf person, and accessible information is huge, and we are trying to bridge that. So we are very lucky to be part of Enable Makeathon because in these 15 days, we managed to put a working prototype.
So our note, do not curate content, do not create content, and definitely do not bring about like a one-year skilling program, any of that. And yet we see them pick up their own learning outcomes, we see them finish those outcomes and actually create ambitious and aspirational goalposts.
Okay, so I just wondered in terms of the outcomes that people, the loop that you've tried this at with
Yes.
people with disabilities, what were the kind of outcomes that they said with relation to inclusion and accessibility?
So they've identified that, and now they are in the next process of figuring out of how are they going to solve that, and that's led to some kind of prototype ideas that have come around.
We are trying to add a virtual cane which will identify the ground level obstacles, a pothole or a step.
You know, I'm very dependent on having a physical interpreter with me at all times. How I decided to go about solving this problem is by creating a mobile interpreting service that would be available everywhere, anywhere, 24/7 and globally.
If we solve for the disability sector, we are actually solving for the whole world. So right from day one, we think our platform is global. We are thinking to solve this in a global way.
We will build a product basically that is accessible, affordable, and gives them the freedom and spirit of adventure.
Is we are trying to make the hearing impaired independent of the need of a human interpreter by making their conversation understandable to anyone and everybody in a private way.
In terms of problem statement, we started with something like how can we make tourism accessible for differently abled. But later when we went across the co-creation process, we realized that accessibility is not just for the differently abled but also for the abled. So it's a much bigger problem.
The first team to move forward to the refinement stage is Unicom. The team Tortured. The third team is Nitec, Butterfly, Front Broad.
Last not least is Dilawa.
So well done. It's been a very difficult journey for, I think, everybody.
And today, being part of the Enable Makeathon's co-creation, I've heard how innovation can actually bring in impact to the business, to the market, and to the community. And I think I am so overwhelmed by the teams who just presented their ideas, and I'm going to wish everyone a big success here.
The ideas that we saw today are extremely exciting, and it was very tough to decide the ones to pick. At the end of the day, I think if we are able to realize and make all these ideas come to life, with each idea coming to life, we are making the world a better place.